Alcor is pleased to welcome you all to today's webinar. Alcor is a global cloud advisory and implementation services company serving Fortune 500, government agencies, and other leading organizations in multiple industry verticals across the Americas, Canada, and India. Alcor is a ServiceNow Elite Partner and an Oracle Gold Partner. We also partner with leading technology companies including AWS, FireEye, Microsoft, Okta, Incorta, and Attivio, to name few more. We advise leading businesses on cloud platforms, architecture, enterprise service management, and integrating IT service delivery. We also provide business process consulting to capture, re-engineer, and improve processes that can easily be automated to deliver real value. The Alcor consulting team has excellence in business strategy, cloud technology, and organizational change management. Our ongoing webinar series is designed to inform, enlighten, and start discussions within your own organizations. If you require any additional information after listening to today's webinar, please reach out to us through our website www.alcortech.com. It's www.alcortech.com. We have time reserved at the end of the webinar for Q&A, so please feel free to type any questions into the question section. Today's webinar topic is deploying Oracle Apex on AWS Cloud. Leverage high availability, auto-scaling, and continuous delivery pipeline, presented by Supriya Agarwal and Mayank Singh. Supriya is a software development manager at Alcor Solutions, and she oversees the Team India software development and requirement management in electronic health domain at Alcor Solutions. She leads a team of brilliant database developers and business analysts. She worked with Oracle India for 9 years and led a great team of application and database developers. She spearheaded several end-to-end software development projects, simplified the complex business situations with innovative approaches, transformed the legacy processes to fulfill today's requirements, and led cross-functional virtual multi-locational teams in her career with Oracle. She has commanding knowledge of various development methodologies, strong understanding of all the phases of software development lifecycle, and proven track record of delivering cost-effective and highly rewarding projects. She is pursuing her postgraduate program in cloud computing and is a postgraduate diploma holder in business management and BTech in computer science. Mayank is a database technical consultant at Alcor Solutions who has an experience in creating complete cloud solutions, implementing data patches, upgrades, disaster recovery solutions, database migrations, and high availability solutions. Mayank is an AWS certified solutions architect professional, Oracle certified developer, and DBA. He also holds a bachelor's degree in computer science engineering. I will now turn the webinar over to Supriya and Mayank.
Thank you, Sheetal. Hello, everyone. In this session today, I'm going to introduce you to Oracle Application Express, also called Apex. Here is the scope of our presentation today. An Apex. What is Oracle Application Express? Apex enables you to design, develop, and deploy responsive database-driven applications. Application Express combines the qualities of a low-code tool such as productivity, flexibility, simplicity with the qualities of an enterprise development tool such as security, integrity, scalability, and availability. Apex is used to build desktop and mobile applications for the Oracle database, taking advantage of large majority of Oracle database features. It quickly builds reports, forms, charts, calendars on the top of the data in your database. You simply use a web browser and the URL to access the development environment. In Apex, you don't need any client software. All of the data processing on page is performed by PL/SQL, acting directly on the data schemas in the Oracle database. Therefore, it is very efficient as data is manipulated directly in the database and the results are sent back as HTML pages. There is no client software needed. It is a declarative framework. It needs no code generation, and the data processing is done within the Oracle database. With Apex, you develop faster and release more frequently. At the core of Application Express is an engine that provides a variety of fundamental application capabilities and operations. Application authentication, page or object level access control, database interaction, the queries, updates, etc., form validation, session management, and protection. They are all available as standard components that can be utilized from every application without doing any custom development. So you develop, you customize, and you deliver. You go from your prototype to production within minutes. Apex is widely used to rapidly build applications that are needed as soon as possible to meet the changing business requirements and maximize the competitive advantage. Apex is used to extend the commercial off-the-shelf applications to streamline your business processes or meet the specific requirements. You are able to develop self-service web applications. Apex is used to webify the spreadsheets, Microsoft Access applications to provide a multi-user, secure, robust application with single source of truth. It is used to extend your enterprise application solutions. Apex is also used to modernize the old legacy client-server applications. You could migrate from a file-based client-server application to a web application. We show now the architecture of Apex. Apex is a simple architecture where page requests and submissions made from the browser are tunneled through the mid-tier to execute in the Oracle database, and the response is returned as HTML to the web browser. Apex is effectively a two-tier architecture, where the client, which is a simple web browser, talks to the Apex engine, which resides in the Oracle database. Given that it resides in the Oracle database, Apex can be installed into any edition and any version of Oracle database. On Oracle Database 9i R2 version and above, in Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition, and Express Edition. The middle tier can either be Oracle REST data service running in the Java server, like Oracle WebLogic Server, Oracle Glassfish Server, or Tomcat, or Oracle Embedded PL/SQL Gateway, which is part of Oracle Database. You could also use Oracle HTTP Server with Mod PL/SQL in the three-tier architecture. So Apex can be a three-tier architecture as well as a two-tier architecture. Apex does not consume any database resources, example, for maintaining a connection for each user, except when it is processing a page. Oracle Application Express enables a single database to host large number of users. It is a multi-tenant software as a service. Users work in a dedicated work area called a workspace. This enables multiple users to work within the same Oracle Application Express installation while keeping their objects, data, and applications private. This flexible architecture enables a single database instance to manage thousands of applications. It turns a single database into a hosted service, making it an ideal platform for consolidation of smaller data stores. The multi-tenant capabilities allow multiple development teams and their associated applications to coexist within one Oracle database, minimizing the cost because you only need one instance. Maintaining the environment is greatly simplified by this architecture. Apex is a feature of Oracle database with no licensing cost for development or deployment of Application Express applications. The Oracle database maintenance agreement also covers support for Application Express. When you sign up for Oracle Document Cloud Service, you are provided with a slice of Oracle database with Application Express as a development environment. It comes already pre-configured and ready to start developing with. Now, let's come to Apex user interface layout. It is a modern, rich, interactive, multi-row editing interface. It allows you to edit more than one rows of data at once to get a faster turnaround for updating the records in your database. It is a declarative support for cascading list of values and dynamic actions. Apex supports your pages to be laid out in the master detail layout. The dynamic actions in Apex have data processing components with minimal resource overhead. The page layout in Apex is a JSON-based lightweight AJAX communication. It has client-side and server-side validation. It has support to bind variables to reference the columns. The column groups are arranged into fixed headers and frozen columns. The execution scope of the page can be to all the rows or to only those rows of data that are modified and added. Apex has excellent accessibility support, keyboard support, and the right-to-left support. Apex has reporting layout component of JET charts, the JavaScript extension toolkit, which is the open source. Apex has declarative support for these visualization components. These are JavaScript-based solutions, the data being provided in the JSON format. This layout is highly customizable. You are able to use JavaScript code to provide function to be called when the chart is initialized. These dynamic actions add to the interactive behavior of your page. And the charts in Oracle JET have built-in accessibility support and responsive design. The Oracle JET charts are fully integrated into Apex using a plugin architecture. This is a declarative chart creation using Page Designer and Wizards. This enables you to get from the development to production within minutes. Developer Productivity Integrated Development Environment. This is an intuitive, modern, powerful, browser-based solution. It has great visual presentation. You're able to have your changes on the page reflect from a tree to grid layout and the property editor, which enables you to change your properties very quickly. It has an intuitive drag-drop support. You're able to drag and move components to copy more than one component in the page at one time using a tree view. Your components are arranged in a tree structure on the page. So this is a great, powerful feature for a developer to be able to get to the layout very quickly. It has an enhanced code editor support too. You're able to write your SQL and PL SQL with validation built in for inline errors that helps you resolve these problems quickly. Apex also supports display customization. You could set your screen reader in the on or off mode. Within clicks, you're able to change the entire theme of your application. There are some built-in themes that I will show you on my next slide, but you could also create your own custom themes in terms of colors and components. Some of the built-in themes in Apex are the Vista, the Vita Dark with a darker layout, and in the red color, the Vita Red. You could use these inbuilt themes to your applications to change the layout quickly for your users. And this brings me to the end of my discussion about Application Express. Now I will hand over the control to Mayank to discuss why we should host Apex on AWS Cloud Service and how we can help you do this.
Thank you, Supriya. All right, everyone, let's jump into the AWS world. So today we will cover the introduction of AWS in plain English, shared responsibility model, Oracle Apex on EC2. We'll see the deployment from scratch, application with high availability, scalability, and high security. And we'll also look into this advanced security best practices. Then we will see how we can migrate application from on-prem to cloud. So then we will see the continuous delivery pipeline we can build using the AWS code pipeline service. Then we will look into the demo of HA and elasticity and continuous delivery pipeline. So what is AWS? So AWS is a comprehensive, evolving cloud computing platform provided by AWS. It provides a mix of infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service offering. The most popular services are like EC2, S3, VPC, RDS, and many more. So when was AWS launched? So AWS platform was launched in 2006. So basically, through new services and regions have been added continuously since launch. So what are its features? So it's on demand. It has a pay-as-you-go model. It has a broad IT infrastructure platform, the hybrid capability, and the global network of AWS regions. It has more than 60 availability zones within 20 geographic regions around the world. And of course, it has a SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS offerings. So AWS in plain English. So these are the few services which I'm going to cover today. So first is EC2. So it is basically hosting the virtual machines in the cloud. So and IAM is basically, it's basically you create the users, keys, and roles and permissions within the AWS. And with the S3, it's unlimited FTP server. And VPC, you can create a virtual co-located rack. And the RDS is a database as a service offering, which is a PaaS offering of the AWS. So, and with the Route 53, you can host a domain. You can migrate your domain from like GoDaddy to the AWS. You can also, register for the new domain. And SNS is a mobile notification service, and web application firewall is basically the firewall service offered by AWS, which is managed by the AWS. So it is a managed service. Code commit, it is similar to the GitHub, where you can create the repository. And code deploy, you can deploy your code to the servers. Code pipeline, it is used for the continuous integration and delivery. And CloudTrail is basically used for logging, so to to see who is doing what in your AWS stack. So CloudWatch is used for alerts, utilization, and dashboard for your AWS services. And Inspector is basically used for auditing purpose, so find the security holes in your AWS environment. So let's see the share responsibility model of AWS. So if you are hosting your application on AWS, so these are the basically responsibility a customer needs to follow. Like the AWS will handle the the I mean storage, your storage, the hardware level of all the configurations, and you have, as a customer, you have to take care of your operating system, firewalls, and your network, and the all the domains and things. So as an consultant, if we are hosting an application on AWS, so this will be our responsibility. Or as a customer, you have to only take care about your data. And now let's see Oracle Apex on AWS. So these are the benefits of it. So basically, you so first thing is that it helps us to minimize the maintenance cost of our data centers, and it increases the speed and agility, and you can increase the capacity on the go. You can go global in minutes. You can run Oracle database updates, apply patches without any downtime. You can implement CI/CD on the go, benefit from massive economies of scale. You can do regular updates to the system, and of course the cost savings. So let's see the deployment from scratch. So these are the consideration. So so first of all, it needs to be buy your own license. Either you can install the database on the EC2 server on RDS. If you're installing on the RDS, you can bring your own license also. And if you are hosting the database, Oracle database on AWS, and you want to choose between the EC2 and RDS, then it depends on the like, if you want a full control over your server, then you will going to host it over the EC2. But if you want the managed service, then you will choose the RDS. So it's upon you. You can choose either way. So the instance type is based on the data size and application. You can choose like any instance type, like T2 micro, T2 medium, whatever, the D series and all. And you can configure the internet using VPC. You can choose the database version from 11G to 18C, and you can also choose the container and non-container databases. So for the deployment from scratches, these are the core services anyone is going to use. So first is Route 53. It is again, it is used for the domain hosting, through which user will make the request to the browser. And VPC, the VPC is basically the internet gateway. You can create the route table, subnets, network access control list. And the last one is EC2, which is going to be our app server and database server with the security group. So this is the architecture of if you are deploying the Oracle Apex on AWS. So from the left hand side, if the user will make the request to the AWS, the request will go to the Route 53, and the Route 53 will forward the request to the internet gateway through that request will go to the route table within the VPC. Then you can see in a availability zone there are two subnets. So basically, in one subnet there is an application instance, in another subnet there is a database instance. So in this case, if I'm installing Oracle database on EC2, then I have full control over my database server. I can access the underlying host. I can apply the patches, database upgrades on my own. So basically, this is how anyone can deploy the the Oracle Apex and database configuration on EC2. And if I talk about the database infrastructure as code with Ansible, so first of all, what is Ansible, and basically there are other configuration management tool also. So we'll see why Ansible is a very good tool. So basically there are chef puppets also, which are the configuration management tool. So Ansible is a agentless, so you don't need an agent to run into your core nodes. So there is a master node and core nodes, so you don't need an agent. So for how it helps Oracle database in terms of installation, patching, and upgrade and migration. So basically, let's consider there is a request from a customer to install Oracle 18C database into 10 individual servers for the new infrastructure. Then in the traditional method, it is time consuming, and also we are putting the same effort again and again, and the possibilities for the human error. and using the Ansible, we can prepare the necessary playbooks with the roles in control server, and then we can push the installation of Oracle 18c to the target servers and managed servers. So traditional method is time consuming, and there are chances of human errors. So through this Ansible, you can write the playbook, and you can just with the one click you can deploy the Oracle database over the several servers concurrently. So now let's look into the high availability. So basically it means always up. So by using this, so there are three type of load balancer provided by AWS. So classic load balancer, application load balancer, and network load balancer. If we talk about the application load balancer, so basically it is used for the provide the high availability with the redundancy across multiple availability zones. So and along with the self-initiating fleet of web server EC2 instances, basically it is possible to make the web server highly available, and with it can be configured with the auto scaling also. And so basically it is possible to scale out and in automatically. So these are the considerations for high availability. So it depends on what kind of application you have. Is it needs to be up every minute, every second, or you can survive the outage. And if you can also use the load balancer for configuring the proxy server, so to mitigate the attacks like DDoS and all. And load balancer has its own benefits, like you can forward the HTTP to HTTPS request, and you can also protect your environment from these cyber attacks like DDoS and SQL injections and these cross-site scripting. So now let's see application with high availability. Let's suppose there is a requirement of SLA 99.5%. So if you have a three-tier application like web server, app server, and database server, so the right now the total availability is 80.2. So if you'll just increase the number of web server, the availability will increase. And again, if you increase the the app server, the availability will also increase. And if you'll just uh, increase the size of number of database servers, app server, and web server, so that application the request can go to the any server, and if one server goes down, it won't affect the whole architecture. So in that way we can achieve the complete service level agreement. So in this case there are basically two things, RPO and RTO. So basically with the RPO means how far you can go to the last backup, and RTO means how long it will take you to recover your data. So with the high availability like this, you can achieve this functionality easily. Now let's see application with high availability. So again, we have Oracle Apex in the public subnet. So let's suppose we have two application instances which is connected to the Oracle database through ORDS connection. So it is a three-tier application. Now the architecture is same. Now I've added the elastic load balancer in between route table and internet gateway. Now the request will the route 53 will forward the request to the elastic load balancer, and it could be distributed among both the instances depending on the load balancer configuration you did. It could be the round robin policy or the session stickiness, and that request will pull the data from the Oracle database. So, and you can also configure your own load balancer using the Nginx on EC2. So it is not necessary to use the AWS elastic load balancer, which is managed by AWS. And now let's see application with high availability with standby database. So again, the architecture is same, just the thing I've added is one more database. So there is a replica of Oracle database. You can achieve this via the Oracle Data Guard. If you're hosting the Oracle database in the EC2, then you can configure the high availability and disaster recovery using Data Guard. And if you're using the RDS, then AWS provides its own read replica. Then you can basically do some clicks, and the read replica of that database will be launched into different availability zone. And now if you're using the high availability with RDS, so it is basically managed by AWS. So again, you don't need to configure the data guard and all. So now let's see the elasticity, which is basically scale up and scale down. So in AWS EC2, it can be achieved by the auto scaling. So basically you can, on the on depending on the traffic or CPU utilization or the load balancer health check, you can scale up your instances size or scale down by the policy of set. So application with auto scaling, basically there is a layer above the availability zone which says if it depends on the configuration. Now, if I set the configuration that as like if my CPU utilization is greater than 50%, then add one more app instance to my application server public subnet, and again that will be automatically configured with the elastic load balancer. So you can also restrict the access to your database server via the NAT gateways. So you can use a NAT gateway to ensure instances in private subnet to connect to the internet or other AWS services, but prevent the internet from initiating a connection with those instances. So basically, if my database is in private subnet, so that means I won't be able to access internet from that server. So if I want to access internet for suppose applying patches and upgrades, so I need to configure a NAT gateway. Through that NAT gateway, my database server will be able to download the patches and upgrades, but it won't let anyone to access your database server by making the connection through the internet. So again, NAT gateway is a managed service by the AWS from the traditional methods. What was doing the you have to create the NAT instances from your own. So now let's see the demo of high availability and elasticity. Okay, so I'll jump into the AWS account. So you can see we have 2 Epic servers and 1 database server. And I bind the application server with the Route 53. Let me just ping my domain name. So now this request will go to one of the application instances which are configured with the Oracle database. So if I'll just click on refresh, now you can see the request is going to different server. The image, the icon has been changed, and the request is going on the basis of round robin policy that I have configured. So if I just try to ping this server individually, then you will see the difference. And let me just also ping this domain name. So this application server has a Oracle Apex URL and it has a cloud URL. So these are basically 2 different environments, and both of them are connected to a same database via the ORDS. So in that way we can achieve the high availability. And so basically I've configured the load balancer, and with the load balancer, if your instances are healthy, then it will forward the the request to one of your instances. So both the targets are healthy. Okay, and the port is 8080. Now let's see the auto scaling. So let's suppose I've configured the auto scaling with the elastic load balancer. If the health check of elastic load balancer for one of the instances is failed, then it will automatically scale up one more instance. Let's suppose if I'll intentionally terminate this instance, then depending on the health grace period, which is to 2 minutes, it will launch the new instance and configure it with the elastic load balancer within 2 minutes. So as I say, it will take 2 minutes. While it is launching, we can proceed with the slide, and we will come back and see if a new instance is launched. So next thing is high level security. Okay, so basic level security you can achieve with the security groups and network access control list. If you want to achieve high level security, then you can use the AWS web application firewall, and basically it is used to protect your application from web application attacks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and geo match. You can also use the geo match condition, and these are the features of this AWS web application firewall. Again, it is a managed service from the AWS. You can also use the shield, which is used to manage DDoS attacks and you can use it with the load balancer also. And you can also provision the certificates from the AWS using the Amazon Certificate Manager. You can create the SSS TLS certificates, and you can associate with the certificates with your load balancer and with your instances. So that connection will be secured. And these are the advanced 7-layer security. You can use the web application firewall, shield, security group, network access control list, ACM, load balancer, and KMS. So basically you use the KMS for encrypting the data. If you're using the database, you must have used the keys for encrypting and decrypting the data. So with the KMS, you can store the keys into the AWS server. So let's see advanced security best practices. So you can see here with the web application firewall, you can deploy the Amazon Certificate Manager, Shield, and web application firewall. So with the load balancer, you can configure all these. And of course, at the instance level, there is a security group. At the subnet level, there is a network access control list. At the database level, there is a KMS. And if you are migrating anything from on-prem to cloud, so it basically depends on the size of your application. If your application size is small, so you can basically use the S3, and you can basically export the data and import the data into the EC2 server. And if your application size is large, then you can use the VPN connection also, and you can also migrate the whole database server or whole application virtual machine using the server migration service provided by AWS. So if you're migrating and transferring on-prem to cloud, so for the small size application, you can put the data into the data or application dump into the S3 bucket. You need to configure the IAM user for that. You need to create the access key and secret access key and provide that to the user, and the user will upload the dump, and that dump should be installed into the AWS. If you're using the EC2, then you need to pull the data from that S3 bucket and install it to the Oracle database manually. And you can also configure the site-to-site VPN tunnel. So basically you need to use the firewall. If you are using a data center, you must have the firewall. You can use the firewall to connect to the AWS VPN and make the VPN connection to the AWS environment. And now let's see the continuous delivery. So basically, what is continuous delivery? So it is used to automate your software delivery process. So let's suppose you put the code into S3 or so. Code commit is a AWS service. So once you'll put the code will be deployed to the AWS instances using code deploy. And you can deploy code to the multiple servers concurrently at the same time. And this can be achieved by the AWS code pipeline. And you can also add the build server also in between source stage and deploy stage. So with the continuous delivery code pipeline, you can create a well-architected framework. So let's suppose you need to create a code deploy pipeline. So a user will basically need some access for your AWS account. Then user will put the build into the S3 bucket or code commit. Then once that build is you put the build into the S3 bucket, job will trigger, and basically the code pipeline will deploy the code into your the Oracle database server or application server, and then code pipeline can also send the SNS notifications to you. Now let's see the demo of continuous delivery using code pipeline. So before that, let's see if a new instance has been launched. So you can see a new instance is running and is configured with our load balancer. If I'll just try to access this, again it is pulling the same landing page, and the whole backend is both the servers are configured with the same database. So this is how you can achieve the auto scaling. Now let's see the continuous delivery pipeline demo. All right, so basically for that I have a S3 bucket, And let me go to the code pipeline service. So my bucket versioning is enabled. So your code needs to be in zip format. So if I'll just go to the pipeline, my Oracle Apex pipeline. So it has two stages, source and deploy. So I executed the pipeline around 20 hours ago. Now I'll just upload the new version of this application. And if I'll go to my Oracle Apex web workspace, so I'm going to create a new application. Okay. So right now I have only one application which has ID 100. So I'll upload a new application into this web workspace. So I'll click on upload. Okay, once I'll click on upload, code pipeline will trigger and it is uploading. It is successfully uploaded. So within few seconds, it will automatically trigger and it will initiate the deployment process. So just look at this ID. This will change in few seconds. Okay, so it has already done. So it is so fast. Now it is deploying the code to my database server, and it will create a new application. If I'll go to detail, it will take some time to deploy the application. Okay, so deployment has been done, and if I'll go to this URL and let me refresh this page. So we have one more application, and let me just go to that application, which is 101. And you can also route the users to your application by Route 53. I mean, you can directly point this application so that into the Route 53, so that any user will come, he will directly route it to this URL. Okay, so let's check if our database configuration is working properly. All right, so you can see the application. In that way, you can deploy the application. So if you have several databases, then you can deploy application at the same time, and you can also use the S3 as your source stage also. Okay, so that's all from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Supriya and Mayank. It was a wonderful, in-depth presentation. There are a few questions that I will get to you in a moment. As a reminder, everybody, please use the question section to ask a question on today's topic. Okay. So we have one question. What is the build? Mayank or Supriya?
Okay, so basically build means if you have a Java application, then you can create a build of that application using the Ant or any other tool. So in that way, that whole code is zipped into a file you can think of. Then you can deploy that build over the servers, and in that way, you can achieve the code pipeline or continuous delivery pipeline.
Thank you. So further on, building on the same question, is that possible to kind of deploy only a single change on some given page when it comes to build? And how would we be able to deploy a page instead of the entire app?
Okay, so basically, if you want to deploy a single page, So with this, with the current functionality of AWS code pipeline, you basically can't do that, but you can do that using the Jenkins. You can configure a Jenkins server on EC2, and you can use the alternate of code pipeline. So you can usually simply deploy the pull the code from the GitHub using the Jenkins. Then Jenkins will deploy the the whatever page you want to update into the your database server.
Thank you, Mayank. I'm not sure what this question means, but Mayank, maybe you would understand. How about the changes in the database? I think it is again with relation to build. How about the changes in the database? It's about deployment.
Okay, so basically, while you are deploying the new build to the database, so you can export the database. Suppose you have a development environment somewhere else, then you can basically export the database file from that environment, and you can put that file into the zip the zip file, and then basically you can deploy that file to the Oracle database with your application. So basically you need to export the database objects from the database from your development environment, and you can deploy it to the your app database server via the code pipeline.
Thank you, Mayank. There is another question. Are those two Apex instances? I think this is in relation to your demo that you gave, Mayank.
Okay.
The question asked was, are those two Apex instances installed on different Oracle databases or with only one Apex and the app? Means how did you work on
Okay.
demo?
So basically, as I said, there is a one database server which is configured with the ORDS to the different application servers. So these application servers are configured with the Oracle database via the ORDS. Like Supriya showed us, like we can make it three-tier application by configuring the ORDS. It could be using the PL SQL gateway or anything, anything else. So basically these application servers the static content is I'm pulling from this application server, and the dynamic content for the both servers are same, which is getting pulled from the Oracle database by the OIDS connection.
Great, thank you, Mayank.
Mm-hmm.
I think no more questions now. I don't see anything new coming. Okay, so the recording of today's webinar will also be available on our website. All registrants, all attendees can revisit the webinar through the recording. And the recording will be available on our website, www.alcortech.com. We will also be sending you the recording link via an email. All people who attended today's webinar, people who could not attend because of time zone clashes or earlier commitments, they would also get the the recording link. And wonderful presentation, Supriya and Mayank. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining. See you all at the next webinar.
Thank you, everyone.